Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you today in class. I just wanted to go over what you're going to be working on so that hopefully it makes sense. And if you've got any questions in the meantime, you can email me. I am available via email. So hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. But in the meantime, just a few reminders. First of all, remember yesterday we learned about inflation. So, this idea that sometimes we have periods of rising prices. We measure that with the consumer price index, and we can divide that into either demand pull inflation, which is where you have too much money chasing too few goods, which is what happened in our auctions, or cost push inflation, which is where you have rising costs of production that cause increases in price. So today, what you're going to do is take a look at what some of the top selling movies of all time are. Now, normally, when you hear about a movie breaking box office records, what they're talking about are the nominal movie sales, meaning the amount of money that came in on that particular year for that particular movie. What that doesn't take into account is the amount of money that a movie makes this year. Part of it might be bigger than past years because of inflation, and so we're going to try to knock those numbers down, figure out real numbers today, in order to adjust those for inflation. So think about some movies that come to mind when you think of top selling movies of all time. I think you'll probably recognize some of these on this list, but some of them may be a surprise. And so let's go ahead and take a look. So this is on today's agenda. All right, so the instructions say to annotate or use a piece of paper to complete this assignment. So you can open up the PDF and annotate in the Canvas app, or you can just use the PDF as a guide and write your responses on paper. Whichever you decide is completely up to you. Just make sure to turn it in Canvas when you're finished with it. So let's take a look at this PDF. All right, so what you're looking at here, the instructions say, in fact, let me make it a little bit bigger. The instructions say top grossing movies are usually listed in nominal values or the dollar value of the year they were released. To find the true top box office hits, you have to use real numbers, in other words, adjust ticket sales for inflation. So you will take each movie's nominal sales number and divide it by the CPI for the year it was released. Your goal is to find the real rank of the 15 movies below. So you can see we've got 5 different categories: the nominal sales, which is given, sales adjusted for inflation, which is what you're trying to find, name of the movie, year it was released, as well as real rank. The word real here means adjusted for inflation. So in order to find that, I've given you the instructions right here in this highlighted phrase. You're going to take the nominal sales number and divide it by the CPI. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, the CPI is found down at the bottom. So the first movie we're looking at is Avengers Endgame. That was released in 2019. So I'm going to scroll down here, find my CPI for 2019. It broke down to the second page there. So for 2019, my CPI number is 2.557. So I'll scroll back up to the top. And I'm going to take this number. This is in millions. So in other words, this is $2.797 billion or $2,797 million. And I'm going to plug this into a calculator. So we've got $2,797 or $2,797 million divided by my CPI for 2019, which is 2.557. My real movie sales, then adjusted for inflation, are 1,093. And I think what we'll do here is just cut it off at the decimal. Don't worry about rounding. So 1,093 is going to be my sales adjusted for inflation. So that 1,093 would go in this box right here. And then we'll be able to fill in the real rank once we adjust all of the movies for inflation, and then see which movie now has the biggest number. Could be that Avengers Endgame still has the biggest number. Could be that it's another movie that now has the biggest sales, but you won't know that until you solve all of the CPIs on all these boxes. So finish the sales adjusted for inflation first, then go back and take a look at the numbers and rank them accordingly. So if Avengers Endgame is now the 10th biggest number, the number that would go in that real rank box would be 10. When you're finished with that, again, submit it to Canvas. If you've got questions, feel free to email me, and I will see you back in class tomorrow.